1967 Ford, the year Detroit roared a legend arrives. Opening scene, vintage footage rolls at the rumble of V8s, the chrome glinting under the sun, a crowd gathered at a local Ford dealership, the camera zooms in on the star, the 1967 Ford lineup, bold and gleaming, saxophone-heavy classic rock plays, cut to black, narrator voiceover. The year was 1967, the world was spinning faster, war in Vietnam, protests at home, the summer of love was blooming, a broken bar and muscle was the new language of the street. But in the heart of Detroit, Ford had its own revolution, not with words, not with peace signs, but with steel, sweat, and style. The 1967 Ford lineup didn't just arrive, it roared, from boulevard cruisers to street bruisers. This was a year that would etch itself into American history. Let's take you back a broken bar to the moment Ford hit its golden stride. A year that changed the game. 1967 wasn't just another year, it was a turning point. The American car scene was evolving fast. Style mattered, presence mattered, and power. Broken bar was everything. Ford was no stranger to the game, but in '67, it came in loud, proud, and ready to dominate. The result, a year of icons, a year of power, a year of Detroit steel at its finest. This wasn't just about selling cars, it was about setting a new standard. The face of Ford, a big, bold, beautiful. Look at any 1967 Ford, and you'll see one word carved into every fender and chrome detail: confidence. Ford's full-size lineup was a visual declaration: wide grilles, stacked headlights, sweeping curves, and a stance that dared you to look away. Let's talk about some of the crown jewels. 1967 Ford Galaxy 500, a bold front fascia, wide-body elegance, and a design meant to own the road. 1967 Ford Limited, subtle luxury wrapped in muscle proportions. Quiet dignity with star power under the hood. 1967 Ford Custom, Ford's no-nonsense full-size beauty, built for the people but never boring. Each model had its own identity, but they shared something more important: presence. The kind of presence that filled driveways, turned heads, and won hearts. Fastbacks, fins, future vibes. Ford knew how to play the style game, and in 1967, it leaned all the way in. Across the lineup, you found fastback rooflines that screamed motion even when parked, flared fenders and sculpted side panels that danced with the light, taillight designs that became instantly iconic, especially the triple bar classics, wraparound bumpers and full-length trim that added just enough chrome to catch your eye without begging for attention. These weren't over-designed, they were perfectly balanced, a love letter to the art of American car design. Interiors and the lounge on wheels. Slide inside a 1967 Ford, and you're not just in a car, you're in a time capsule of American comfort. Big bench seats, deep cushioned and wide enough to seat royalty. Long dashboards with chrome-ringed gauges and soft glow backlighting. Radios that crackled with soul music and AM news, and heater controls that slid with a satisfying click. And every detail from the stitching to the armrests spoke of a time when even the simplest trim level had a touch of class. This was a car made for road trips, Sunday drives, and first dates. A place where memories were made, songs were sung, and life was lived 1 mile at a time. Under the hood, at the era of the V8, what made these cars truly unforgettable wasn't just how they looked, it was what they carried beneath. The 1967 Fords came with a lineup of engines that read like a power enthusiast's wish list. 200 cubic inch inline-six for efficiency and smooth operation. 289 V8 had the workhorse, dependable and punchy. 390 V8 a torque monster, perfect for long pulls and highway domination. 427 V8 had the legend, brutal, beautiful, and bred for the track. Some cars got the new 428 Cobra Jet, an engine that would later become infamous for its raw, untamed grunt. Each engine had its own voice, its own rhythm, its own character, and none of them needed a badge to prove themselves. The sound did all the talking. Mustang mania at the Pony runs wild. We can't talk about 1967 without stopping to admire the Mustang. 2 years into its historic run, the Mustang got its first major redesign, and Ford didn't hold back. The '67 Mustang grew wider, meaner, and more muscular. The fastback version became an instant icon, the GT packages added sport, and the Shelby versions, they became legends. This was the year the Mustang evolved from a secretary's car into a true performance icon. It had bite, it had brawn, and it had an attitude the world couldn't ignore. The Mustang didn't just carry the Ford badge, it defined it. Innovation under every inch. Ford's 1967 lineup wasn't just about brute force and pretty curves. This was the year technology started to creep in quietly but unmistakably. You got AM/FM stereo radios, tilt steering wheels, power windows and locks, select shift automatic transmissions, a new kind of control, and the magic air ventilation system, keeping you cool on hot summer days. For the discerning buyer, options meant everything. Ford didn't just build cars, they built choices. And those choices helped people feel like they weren't just driving a car, they were choosing a lifestyle. Ford for all, a car for every American. Part of Ford's brilliance in 1967 was its range. It didn't just make one kind of car, it made something for everyone. The young guy dreaming of a Mustang and racing red. The family man settling into a Galaxy with room for 5 and a dog. The executive slipping behind the wheel of unlimited with power everything. The working man driving the no-frills Ford Custom and loving every mile. Ford was more than a car company, it was an American identity. Every driveway, every street corner, every gas station had a piece of Ford DNA parked somewhere nearby. The Ford truck family, a strength in simplicity. And let's not forget the workhorses. In 1967, the F-Series trucks got a new look, too rugged, squared off, and built for real jobs. From the reliable F-100 to the heavy-duty models, Ford's trucks were as much a part of the American landscape as baseball and barbecue. They hauled, they towed, they endured, and somehow, they still looked good doing it. The enduring legacy of 1967. Why does the arrival of the 1967 Ford lineup still matter today? Because it represents a moment frozen in time. A moment when car design was bold, unapologetic, and free. When chrome wasn't a luxury, it was an expectation. When every engine had a heartbeat. When your car said as much about you as your clothes or your job. The 1967 Ford era wasn't just special, it was transformational. And for anyone lucky enough to have lived it or smart enough to own one today, it's a reminder that sometimes a broken bar, they really did build them better back then. Final scene. A 1967 Galaxy cruises under a neon-lit diner sign. The Mustang parks next to a jukebox. The soundtrack fades into a slow, nostalgic tune. Voiceover. Some years fade into history, others roar into legend.